Welcome to this next session of Programming for Problem Solving. The topic for the day is structures. Now, what is a structure? A structure is a user-defined data type used in C that allows you to combine data items of different kinds or different data types, or structure is a collection of heterogeneous data types. So it is simple. First thing, that it is a user-defined data type. That means it has to be created by the programmer. Second thing, it is not an atomic variable. That means it does not contain a single value. It is a collection or a set of variables or set of elements. The third thing, that those set of elements which are combined to form a structure can be of heterogeneous data type. So like an array, which is a collection of homogeneous or similar types of data elements. Structure, on the contrary, is a collection of heterogeneous or different data types or data elements. Structures are used to represent a record. Suppose you want to keep track of your books in the library, you may want to track the following attributes about each book: title, author, subject, book ID. Now, generally what happens is that in order to store this information, you can use four different variables. But because these four different elements are interrelated to each other, so it is better to use a data structure or a data type that can bind them together. But array is not a good choice because these are of different data types. Hence, C programming provides you with a provision to create structures using which with you can combine these four elements of different data types into one. So let us have an example of a structure. If you want to store the information regarding the insurance policy. Now, insurance policy is a broader term. It consists of the following attributes like policy number, the type of the policy, the agent code, the name of the policyholder, who is the nominee of the policy, premium amount, and the commencement date. Now, all these parameters or all these elements combine to form the insurance policy, and hence it is only relevant to use the concept of a structure to group them together into one object. Why can't we use array? Because of the second column, you can see the data type. The data types are different. Because the data types are different, we cannot use the concept of array. How do we declare or prototype a structure? Because it is a user-defined data type, that means it is the responsibility of the programmer to create it. What is the syntax? The syntax to create or prototype a structure has been given on the left-hand side, whereas an example to create a student structure has been given on the right-hand side. The syntax contains, first of all, you have to use the keyword called struct, followed by the name of any legal identifier, just like a normal variable. You can also use any legal identifier to create a user-defined data type. Then struct the name of the structure. Then comes your block. This block will contain the elements of the structure. So how many in this example? You can have first member, you can have second member, and then you can have n members. These n members can be created just like normal variables. What is the data type of that element and what is the identifier or name of that element. Now here is an example of how you can prototype or declare a structure. Struct is the keyword, so it will always be the same. Now this is an legal identifier as it is a combination of alphabets only. So we are creating a new user defined data type which will be a structure. The name of that data type will be student. So once this data type is formed, the student will become a data type just like the inbuilt data types integer, float, character. So you will be able to create objects or variables of the student data type like you are able to create the variables or constants of integer, float, and character data type. So how many elements are there? There are total of 4 elements of this student data type. 3 of these are of integer data type and 1 is a string data type, that is the collection of characters: name, age, roll number, and marks. So this is how we are able to prototype or declare a structure. So here actually we have only created the data type. We are not created any variables like it's object 1 and object 2 mentioned here. So do not focus on here. This has been discussed later. So if you just simply ignore these two, so we S1 and S2, we have just created a data type. Now we will see how we can create the objects of a structure. There are two methods to create or declare the objects of a structure. Both these methods have been given as example 1 and example 2. As you can see in the example 1, we are creating a user defined data type structure named student. Now, within these curly braces, it contains 4 data elements of the structure. Now, the declaration or the prototype of the structure ends with the semicolon. But if you want to create the objects of a structure, immediately when you are creating the structure itself, then you can give the name of the objects separated by comma before the semicolon. So this statement means that we have also prototyped a student structure and created 2 objects of that structure. One is called object 1 and the second one is called object 2. In case you did not want to create the objects at this time, you could have simply written here the curly braces followed by the semicolon. And in case you did not create the objects of the structure using example 1, then you can create the objects of a structure later on in the program using example 2. This is a method similar to creating the variables of any user defined data type. For example, int a comma b. Here we have created 2 variables or objects of the integer data type. Now have a look at the following statement in the example 2. Here we have created 2 objects or variables, object 1 and object 2 of the student data type. Now what is a student data type? It is a user defined structure. I hope the 2 methods to create the objects of a structure is clear. Next we move to how much memory is allocated to a structure object. Now obviously when you create a user defined data type and then you create the object of that structure, that object must be allocated memory just like a normal variable. If you look into an integer a, how much memory is allocated to a? 2 bytes. Float f, 4 bytes. Character c, 1 byte. And if you create an array, for example, integer a within the square brackets 10, that means you are creating an integer array of 10 elements. Because it is integer array and one element takes 2 bytes, so the array will take 20 bytes. So now the question is how much memory is allocated to an structure object. Memory allocated to the object, that means the structure object, is equivalent to the total memory taken by all the members of the structure together. Because the elements of the structure can be of different data types, hence we cannot multiply them. We need to calculate the memory required by individual elements of the structure, and then only we can calculate the or compute the total memory required by the object. Now in this example, as you can see, a student structure has been created with 4 data elements, and then using this statement an object named S1 has been created. Now the memory will be allocated to this object S1, but the question arises is how much memory. Now when the S1 object will be created, it will consist of following or these 4 elements. Now let's have a look at how much memory is required by each element. The first element name will take 30 bytes because it is a string or a character array of 30, and one element takes 1 byte, so 30 elements will take 30 bytes. The second one is age. Because it is of integer data type, it will take 2 bytes. Roll number, integer, means 2 bytes. Marks is integer, that means 2 bytes. So what is the total memory that will be required by the object S1 is sum of all the 4 members, which is 30 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is 36 bytes. So the total memory that will be allocated to S1 is 36 bytes. I hope this is clear to you. Next, we will see how we can access an individual member or data element of a structure object. Now, S1, as in the previous example, is an object of the structure student, and S1 itself consists of 4 data elements. Now we need a mechanism using which we can access the individual elements of the structure object S1. For that, we use the membership operator. The membership operator is used to explicitly indicate which data member or element you want to access using the object of the structure. So as you can see in the figure below, or in this particular figure, object 1, obj1 is the name of the structure object. So that basically means I want to access the data element which belongs to object 1. It is very important because you can create multiple objects of the same structure. Hence it is very important to write the name of the object for which the data member you want to access. So the first thing to mention is the name of the object. The second is very important, which is this dot symbol. Now what is that dot symbol? This dot symbol indicates the membership operator. So that means I want to access a data member for the object 1. Which is the data member or the data element that I want to access? The name of that data element is age. So what is the age? Age is the member name which I want to access. So the syntax actually consists of 3 things. One is the name of the object, the membership operator, and then the member name. Because object 1 is a simple variable, the membership operator that will be used is dot. In case if we are using a pointer object, then a different membership operator is used, but that has been discussed in the next session. So here are some of the examples. In this example, we want to change or we want to assign a value to the member age which belongs to object 1. The value is 27. Now, in the second example, we are again changing or assigning the value to the data member age, but this age is different from the age in the first statement because it belongs to the object 2, whereas in the first statement the age belonged to object 1. So what will be the value of the age which belongs to object 2? The value will be 28. So what are the prime differences between the two data types? One is called array and a structure. An array, basically, as we have already discussed, it is not a user defined type, but it is a derived data type because it can be derived from a inbuilt or a user defined data type, whereas structure is strictly a user defined data type. So the first difference between the two is that array is a collection of homogeneous or same type of data elements, whereas structure is a collection of heterogeneous data elements. Second difference, array comes under the category of derived data types. Derived means it can be derived from an already existing data type, whereas structure is a new data type. That means a user defined data type. Array size is fixed and must be given in advance. So basically, when you create an array, you tell that these are the elements of the array and all the elements are of the same size, whereas you don't have to declare the objects of the structure at the time of declaring structure. जब आप एक structure बनाते हैं, when you create a structure, you just tell the elements that these are the elements it will have, but there is no compulsion of creating the objects. So that means no memory is allocated at that time. The fourth difference is that the array is declared or prototype using the simple procedure, that is the data type and then the name of the array, followed by the size of the array which is given inside the square brackets. Whereas the structure is properly defined using the struct keyword, and then within the curly parentheses we give the details of the data elements that it will contain. The fifth difference is array can be accessed directly by indicating the index value. So simply if you want to access the element number 5, so you will specify the index number 4 within the square parenthesis. Whereas in order to access the element of a structure object, you need to use the membership operator, which by default is the dot operator. The last difference is that all elements within the array are allocated same amount of memory because all the elements are of homogeneous data type. Whereas structure, the elements or the individual elements, they are not guaranteed to take the same amount of memory because they can be of different data type. Now this is a sample program to create and use a structure. So first of all, in this line, we are creating a user defined data type named student, which will be of structure type. And it consists of three data elements. One is the roll number, which will be of integer data type. Then a string, that is the character array or name of 30 elements, then the age. And we are also creating an object one, obj1, right at the time when we are prototyping the student structure. The total memory that will be allocated to object 1 is 2 plus 2 plus 30 or character type and 2. That means 34 bytes of memory will be allocated to the object obj1. Now, because this object obj1 has been prototyped or declared outside the main function, that means this is called a global variable. So object 1 is a global variable. So let's check the main function. So a message is displayed, please enter the value of the roll number, and now we need to access the data element or the data member roll number. Now roll number belongs to which object? Obj1. So the first thing that you need to do is mention the name of the object, then write the membership operator, and then the name of the element that you want to access. Similarly, you can access the element name and element age. So here, using these three statements, we are able to take the input of all the three data elements that belong to object 1 or obj1, which is an object of the student data type. And then using this statement, we are able to display the value of all these three elements. The first element is of integer data type, that is why it is %d. This first element will be picked up from the list here, object 1 dot roll number. The second element to be displayed is of string data type, which will be picked up from here, that is object 1 dot name. So this is the second element. The third element is again of integer data type, that is, this is the third element, and it will be picked up from here. This is a very basic program to create a structure and then able to access the individual elements of the structure, take input, and then display. I hope this is clear. It was very basic program to create a structure, create the objects, and then access individual elements. Now we can also create an array of structure objects. Like in the previous example, let's go back to the previous slide. Here you have created one object. Here you can see you have created one object. So this will contain the information about one student. But obviously there are more students within a school or within a class, so you cannot create so many objects. So the appropriate thing will be to create the array of the objects. So how we can create the array of the objects? So first of all, let us understand what is an array of a structure. It is a method that is used to create array of structures and access the multiple objects using the index value. So when we will create an array of objects, all the objects can be accessed using the single identifier name. For example, obj1. If I create an array of obj1, I can access all the elements of the array obj1 using the same identifier name. But how then I differentiate between them? I will be able to differentiate between them using the index value. Now this is the syntax, as you can see here, to create a array of the structure object. First of all, the first is that you need to mention the name of the structure or the data type for which you want to create the object array. The second is you need to give a legal identifier name that will become the object name. And then within the square brackets, you need to define the size of the array. For example, in this statement, as you can see here, we are creating an object array obj1 which belongs to the student data type, and the size of this array will be 10. So using this statement, we are able to create 10 structure objects using the single identifier. So this concept is called array of structure or array of structure objects. Now this is a simple program how we can use the array of structure, and I can tell you there are numerous advantages when it comes to the complexity of a program using array of structures. Now let's have a look at how the program actually works. Now here again we are creating a user defined data type named student, which will be a structure. It will consist of three data members: name, age, and roll number. And here we are creating the array of structure objects. If I had simply written obj, then it would have created a simple structure object. But because I have used the square brackets and mentioned a constant value as size, this means we are creating an array of the structure object with 3 elements. So that means we are creating 3 objects. Now, what is the biggest advantage of creating an array of structure object? One that I have already discussed, that it helps in reducing the number of identifier name. Second is we can access individual or all the object elements using a for loop. How? Now, because if I want to access the members of the first object, then it will be object 0 belongs to all elements will belong to object 0. Similarly, we have the second object, that is object 1, all elements belong to object in the bracket 1, and the last object can be something like this. So here you can see that the name of the object is same, only the index value is changing from 0 to 2, and now that can be accomplished with the help of the for loop. That means I will be a counter that will start from 0 and will go till the value of it is less than 3, that means 2. So here I will act as 0, I will act as 1, and I will act as 2. So when we want to take the input, rather than simply writing object dot name, we are specifying object and then within the square brackets I name. So what is the initial value of I? The initial value of I, as you can look here, is 0. So that means this name belongs to object with index 0. Similarly, age with object index 0, and roll number also object index 0. Now when the input for the first object is taken, we go back to this statement and the value of I is incremented to 1, and then it is incremented to 2, and the loop terminates when the value of I becomes 3, because 3 is not less than 3, and we come here. Similarly, we can display the value of all elements of the array of structure object using the for loop. Now just imagine if you have 500 students within a class, then you can simply create an object array of structure object like this, object 500. There is no need to create 500 different objects. Similarly, there is no need to extend the code of this program. Here you have written I, here you have written I less than 3. So let me now again just clear this off. I less than 3. So simply change this to I less than 500. And here again I less than 3, I less than 500. That's it. You can take the input of all 500 students. There is no need to rewrite the code or the additional lines. Like I said, creating array of structure objects helps in reducing the complexity of the program and makes it more readable and effective. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. You were able to understand the basic fundamentals of what is a structure and how we can create a structure and its objects and how we can access those elements using those objects in C programming language. Further, you were able to understand how we can create an array of structure objects. So I will look after or look for your company in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.